Good morning, good evening, everyone, to our amazing partner, wherever you guys are. I hope that you guys are healthy and safe. Today, we're going to speak about Kansas State University. Eric and Jamila, if you guys can turn on your camera, I really appreciate that. And we do have Kelvin, my colleague, as well, that like last time he will take a Q&A at the end. Eric and Jamila, thank you so much for taking time this morning with us and going to the presentation. We really appreciate your time. For our amazing partner, few notes to remember. Q&A would be at the end of the last presentation, about the last 15 minutes of the presentation. So use the chat box section to write down your questions and sit back and relax the presentation all the way. We will send the recording of this presentation to you later on, so you would not need to be taking notes or anything, but do whatever makes sense for you. But we want to make sure you enjoy the presentation. That's pretty much from my end. Once again, Eric and Jamila, thank you so much for taking the time. Floor is yours.
All right, thanks again, Mehdi, for having us. And hope you and everyone out there watching, you and your families are all doing well at this time. So I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. Again, we're from Kent State University, and we'll just start by introducing a little bit about our university and where we're located. So we can go ahead to the next slide. Again, yep, so we'll start here. So this is just to give you an idea of where we are located in the United States. So Ohio, Kent State is located in Ohio, which is the state we're in. In the US, we call the region of our area the Midwest. So the general idea of the area is that it's a very safe area, very affordable area of the country, especially when you compare us to the coast, so the East Coast or the West Coast and some of the bigger cities. We also got a lot of different outdoors going on, where the town Kent is often known as the Tree City. And there's actually a national park very close nearby. So if students are interested in hiking, biking, even kayaking, different types of recreational activities, we're really close to a lot of those types of areas that they can do that. And although we're in a small town, so Kent, Ohio is actually a college town. And when I say college town, I'm meaning that the heart of the town and the main concentration of the town is the university itself. So although we're a smaller town, we are nearby Cleveland, Ohio, which is about an hour away. And that's an area that students can go to if they're looking for more entertainment options, sports, shopping, museums, theater, a lot of different stuff going on in the city of Cleveland. But we also have a lot of other cities nearby that are within driving distance if they want to get away. Toronto, Detroit, Chicago's not too far, if just to have some weekend trips. So, and then downtown Kent, as I said, it's a small little college town, a lot of shops, little entertainment venues, food, bars, whatever, little arts areas. So if they're looking to have a little time, it's literally right across the street from campus. So go ahead on to the next one. And we just want to give you an idea of kind of the businesses that are in our region within Northeast Ohio, as well as Ohio as a whole. As you can see, there's a lot of different types of fields and industries that are located in Ohio, whether it's that they're headquartered or maybe a regional headquarters. Big ones obviously are the banking, finance district, but we have a lot of different industries, such as one that's not on here, Goodyear Tires. We're very close to Akron, which is a big rubber area. So the Goodyear tire headquarters is actually located in Akron, right down the road from Kent. You'll see P&G is a huge one that's down south in Cincinnati. And another big one that isn't on here is Northeast Ohio. The biggest employer is actually probably the healthcare system, hospitals. We have the Cleveland Clinic, which is one of the best hospitals. It's usually ranked #2 behind the Mayo Clinic. And it's a huge hospital system, not even just located in Ohio, it's all over the US and the world. I can go ahead to the next one. And this will just give you an idea of employers of our current international Kent State alumni. So we have a lot of alumni around the world taking part in a lot of different fields and industries. And these are some of the bigger names that students may recognize. Again, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Google. If you look to the bottom right, you'll see Cleveland Clinic, Abu Dhabi. So again, this is this huge, amazing hospital system, and it's located in Abu Dhabi as well. So just to give you an idea of where people who have gone to Kent State have gone on in their careers.
All right. So next, we're just going to talk about some flash facts. So Kent State University has been ranked as one of the top public universities in the U.S., and we're also ranked as one of the top national universities in the U.S. We were founded in 1910, so pretty long ago, and we're located in Kent, Ohio, which is in the Great Lakes region. So like Eric emphasized, we're very close to we're kind of like settled between Akron and Cleveland, and we're the little red dot. And then we're located, of course, near the Great Lakes region, which again puts our university in a really good position for research. And I think we'll touch on that briefly later, but a lot of our students take advantage of our location to do some of their science research. Next slide, please. All right, so at Kent State University, we offer a variety of programs. We have everything from bachelor's to master's to PhD. We even have certificate programs, and those are becoming increasingly popular as well. We have over 1,500 international students that come from over 104 countries, and that population is always becoming more and more diverse each year. Our most popular programs with international students would be the aeronautics, the architecture, business, communication, education, everything that you see listed on the screen. And what we're going to do later in this presentation is we're going to kind of dive a little deeper into those programs and give you some more facts about what they're known for and, you know, what students will get out of those programs when they graduate. We also have 8 campuses that are located around the Ohio area. And then we have centers in New York City, Florence, and Geneva. And I like to emphasize those because we have more than 30 faculty-led programs each semester where students get to travel and study abroad across the world. So Kent State is really well known for their students going abroad for a semester and sometimes more to do some of their coursework. And what's nice is that even if you're an international student, you do get to take advantage of that. So you could be studying in the US and then again be an international student in another country. So we like to encourage our students to take advantage of that, especially if it's part of their program, which in some programs you do have to study abroad for a semester. Next slide. So Kent State University prides itself on being, you know, a welcoming campus, and we want to make the whole thing comfortable for our students. Downtown Kent is like really close to our campus, and it's within walking distance. There's lots of like restaurants and things to do for students, so that, you know, it's like a little bit of a small college town vibe. And then our campus is also known as Tree City, like Eric mentioned, because we're located near one of the largest national parks, and the whole scenery is super beautiful. Campus is filled with trees, and I hope you'll be able to see that in some of our photos. We were ranked #1 for our dining services in the US. So we have more than 11 locations, and I believe we're one of the first schools to have a gluten-free option as well. And then we have a couple of grocery stores and then popular, you know, coffee shops like Starbucks on campus. Our bus service for students is free, so we like to emphasize to international students that you're not going to pay for that service. And not only does it go around campus, but there are some routes that can take you grocery shopping and to places near campus so that you're not, you're not having to worry about getting a car or anything like that. And sometimes that's nice too if it's a little bit colder outside. And then again, just emphasizing that we're a college town and we have a very beautiful campus. The photo you're looking at on the screen is of our architecture building, and it's made out of glass. And you can see there's a lot of lighting, a lot of natural lighting. And so our campus is really beautiful, and we like to emphasize the architecture and the structure of the buildings. And so I'll just briefly touch on our student life. So at Kent State University, we have some popular events and festivals throughout the year that are celebrated. We do have free Wi-Fi campus-wide, so no one has to worry about that. As long as you're on campus or within a certain distance, you'll be able to get that Wi-Fi. And then we have, of course, a fitness and recreation center, which is really amazing. It's 3 floors of, a pool, lots of equipment, multiple basketball courts. I know a lot of our international students really like that because they get to take advantage of the rec center. It's something you get free as a student, but also there's just a lot of events and activities that happen there throughout the year, including club sports. So those are pretty popular with our international students.
All right, so just to touch a little bit on living on campus. So obviously we do allow international students, of course, to live on campus, no matter the level, if they're undergraduate or if they're graduate students. We make sure to save spots for our international students so they have an opportunity to live on campus if they would like. And we are quite a large research university, so we have 25 different residence halls with about 6,500 students living on campus. And the type of living accommodations that they can get kind of vary depending on the price point, of course. So your standard would be your double, but then if they want, they can live in a single or a triple or a quad. We have some that are kind of your general residence hall style, and then there's also kind of an apartment style. Of course, the apartment style might be a little more expensive. So it just will depend on their budget and the type of living style they want to live in. Usually students that live on campus generally have a higher GPA standing, engage more in the Kent State community since they are living on campus and not commuting. And then like a lot of universities, we do offer the living learning communities. So this may be based on your major. Say you're an aeronautics student and you want to live with other students that are concentrating on aeronautics. That would allow them to live together, kind of work together. And then there's also some other living learning communities, such as our Global Village, which allows U.S. students and international students, if they want to live together in kind of an international community, to learn from each other. We can move along. And I mentioned this kind of briefly about just the region being safe, but especially with the college town and Kent itself, we take a lot of pride in our campus safety. Recently, we've been ranked 25th safest campus in the US. Before that, we were also in the top 25, so we're always really high on this ranking. And that you got to think that's out of 4,000 some universities and colleges. So we're really happy to have that. And we do have quite a lot of students, being about 26,000 students on the main campus, so that we're able to have that high of a rating we do take a lot of pride in it. We have a great police force. They're one of their flagship agency. They're working 24 hours a day. And you see them around campus and they're super friendly. They're not like, you don't have to be intimidated of them at all. They will say hi to you. They actually have this thing called coffee with a cop or coffee with the police. I can't remember how they word it, but they even come to our office. International students can come, sit down, hang out with them. Sometimes they bring donuts, and they just want you to be comfortable with them and get to know them. And they're there always to help at anything you need. In addition, we have other services. So let's say someone's studying, till 2 in the morning. They don't feel comfortable walking from the library back to their dorm. There's trained student escorts. So these are students that are trained security aides, and then they will help you, make you feel comfortable walking across campus or whatever need you may have for them. Obviously phones all across campus. And then we have what's called flash alerts. So this is either set up through mail and your phone. This may be simply as, and I'm sure some of you may know, maybe if you're from a colder region, it may snow a lot. We are a little up north, across from Canada, so we do get snow in the winter. Sometimes we get days off because there's too much snow, or maybe there's too much ice, it's too cold. They might get an alert through that. Or let's say maybe a building's closed because of a gas leak or something like that. Or if there was happened to be, you know, another type of emergency, you would receive an alert quickly from there, giving instructions on what to do. So they do a really great job with the safety of the campus. We can move along to the next one. And this is probably what a lot of you are wanting to see, is the different costs. I'm sure you were going to have questions on it eventually. So this just breaks down basically what our current I-20 costs would be, what they would need to show on a bank statement for the upcoming fall 2020 2021 year. So this would cover 2 semesters, and you'll see we are a very competitive price point. Our tuition and fees is not too high, and then the living expenses, again, it's very affordable area to live, not just necessarily with our housing fees. And the living expenses, just to give you an idea, because sometimes I think people think they look a little high. These take into account not just our housing costs on campus, which are usually $11,000 to $12,000. We also lump in, you know, transportation fees, like outside transportation fees if they go out to eat off of campus and stuff like that. So this is just an estimated expenses of what they might spend while they're here in the US during that one academic year. So so you'll see there's the undergraduate, graduate, we base that off of 9 credits, which is the 8 credits is the full time. Usually students will do 3 classes, 3 credits each. So that's just to give you an idea of what that is per semester. And then we also do offer ESL. So we do have English as a second language. So if they're enrolled in that, whether conditionally or they're just doing ESL only, that's what the cost for a academic year would look like for ESL.
All right. So Kent State has been helping students fulfill their dreams for over 100 years and helping them succeed in their academics. So one of the things that is super important is that we do have the small class sizes. So more than 56% of our classes have fewer than 20 students. So what that basically concludes is that, you know, maybe during your freshman year, you're going to be in larger classes because you are starting off with more general coursework, but as you progress into your sophomore, junior, and senior years, the class sizes get really small, very individualized, very personalized, and generally they have fewer than 20 students, which makes for a great learning environment, especially if you're looking for that one-on-one attention with your professors, and just being able to interact in a smaller classroom size sets you up for more time to, you know, meet with your peers and again interact with your professors. So that's super important. And then more than 2/3 of our faculty also have the highest degree in their field. So we have a lot of very experienced faculty in our fields, and you know, not only are they like recognized, but some of them were Fulbright scholars, and you know, they're very good at what they do, and they've, you know, there's some award-winning ones. So definitely, if you ever visit our website, we do recognize those faculty and some of the research that they do. And lastly, again, because we're known for our research, in the past 20 years, the federal government has awarded Kent State more than $355 million in research, which is a lot of money. And Kent State, I believe, has some of the most patents between US and Canada. So there's a lot of research going on at Kent State, especially more than ever right now. Next slide, please. Okay. So we have 14 libraries at Kent State. when we say 14 libraries, we're talking beyond just one big library, but we do have one of those which all students have access to, but all of our academic colleges also have smaller libraries inside of them. So those are great, especially if you're in a research intensive major, or even if you're not, you're just interested in your subject. I know that like our fashion school, for example, has its own library. So that's helpful for students so they can choose whichever library they want to use. You'll have access at Kent State to all of them. And then we do have Academic Success Center, which has subject-specific tutoring. I know that some students come in with a little bit of challenges in certain subjects. We do want to make sure that all of our students succeed, so we have that tutoring by subject. And then also we have global education and the National Student Exchange Program. So like I said earlier, we have those study abroad sites for international students that they can go to, over 30 faculty-led programs, but also because we're part of the National Student Exchange Program, we have students go abroad just in the United States, and we have over 180 schools that are participating in that program. So students can also, if they prefer not to go abroad again, they can choose to even study abroad within the United States, and that's super nice. And then we have personalized professional career advising. And I just want to touch on that many of our colleges do have their own career advising centers located in them. I know, like, for example, our College of Business has one, and that's super helpful if students are looking for internships, if they're looking for jobs, maybe they're looking to just improve their resume, or, you know, everything, job preparation, interview prep, they do it all. So we don't just have one that's general to all students, but a lot of the colleges will have one that's specific to them with someone in that office that specializes in career advising for their academic program. All right, and last one in this area is we have over 400 student organizations. So we tell students that there is something for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're interested in, you know, sports, religion, culture. We have a ton of international student organizations. We have like a giant one for all of the international students, but all the international students have also created their own cultural clubs, kind of to not only interact with people from their own country, but to also promote, you know, cross-cultural learning opportunities on campus. So you'll see a lot of them have big university events. So they invite all the students in the university to come to their events and to learn more about their culture. So those are super nice. And yeah, so there's literally something for everyone. We have a lot of intramural sports clubs. I know a lot of students who, you know, have an interest in a certain sport, but they're not, you know, doing it professionally. I know that a lot of our international students love participating in those sports clubs. So we have literally something for everyone, and it's also super easy to start your own club. If you have a certain number of people, we do open that opportunity for anyone to start an organization on Kent's campus.
All right, so next we're just going to go through kind of the different colleges on campus and just give you an idea of the programs that we offer. We'll mainly talk about maybe the ones that we're more known for and more that are maybe more unique to us. You can go ahead to this next slide. And we do have more than 300 programs, so obviously we're not going to talk about all of them. We would be here all day. But we'll start with the College of Aeronautics and Engineering. We actually have our own airport. It's about 5-10 minutes down the road from campus. We have 32 airplanes in our fleet, the largest in Ohio. And we're only one of about, I don't know the exact number, but one of about 30 schools that have this type of facility, as well as the type of accreditation that we have. So students can learn to be pilots. We also have like air traffic control programs with these amazing simulation facilities that are based off of the National Air Traffic Control Center in Oklahoma. And students are able to take this training and get the pilot certification that they would need. Obviously, countries have different qualifications that they need to meet. Usually the certification that they would be able to get would allow them to fly across the world. But if you did have students that were interested and they were worried about this, they could always touch base with, you could touch base with us and we can see if we can get any of those questions answered for you. Also in aeronautics, we do have an aerospace engineering major, which was recently opened a couple years ago, as well as a mechatronics engineering program, which has become quite popular. And that one started this past year. So a couple engineering programs, as well as a lot of different technology programs. And we've recently started or will be opening some masters in different engineering fields as well. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, and this again just gives you a little bit of idea of the accreditation and the different couple other different engineering majors offered at the undergraduate level. There in the middle, you'll see a picture of our airport, and they actually just got a recently completed building for some of the aeronautics students, so they can take classes and have some training right there and not have to do it at the aeronautics building back on campus for those that are becoming pilots. All right, we can go on to the next one. Then architecture, Jamila showed the architecture building earlier in the presentation. It just got completed a couple years ago. It's right at the beginning of campus if you're walking from downtown. So it's just a beautiful opening, and it's just an amazing building if you're a design student to have that natural light coming in. And students all have their little workstations. In the college architecture, at the undergraduate level, the main majors are architecture, of course, as well as interior design, both very highly rated. I believe the percentage, about like 38% of architects practicing in the state of Ohio went through Kent State in order, whether through their undergraduate or the master's level. So we do have a lot of students may start with bachelor's and then move on to the master's, which if they do well in their undergraduate, they may even be able to complete bachelor's then master's in 5.5 years, depending on how they proceed through the programs. At the graduate level, in addition to architecture, there's also landscape architecture, there's kind of an urban design program as well, and a couple others that they can take part in. And then a lot of architecture students, this is one of those programs that really pushes students to study abroad, whether at our Florence Center, which Jamila mentioned earlier, or in a lot of different areas. So there's a lot of opportunities and they really push their students to study abroad. One of our coworkers, her brother did this program and they actually competed in Harbin, China, and they won some awards there. So they do a lot of great things through the College of Architecture and Environmental Design. All right, go on to the next. And then, yeah, this is just again, the accreditation for architecture. They're accredited by NAAB, and then interior design, which again is another great major. A lot of the interior design, I believe, like 90% and above of them have a job lined up before they even graduate with their bachelor's degree. So it's again a really great design major, beautiful facilities for it. We can go to the next program. So one of our actually most famous programs is our fashion school and our fashion programs. So we offer both fashion design and fashion merchandising. And if you're ever looking at the various rankings online, such as like fashionista.com, and there's some other ones as well, you'll always find us within the world, you'll find us in the top 20 usually. And if you're looking in the United States, we're usually top 10 or top 5 even. And that's both for merchandising and for design. What's really unique about our school is that a lot of the other fashion schools you'll find on that list or on those lists, those will tend to be very expensive private art institutes or specific fashion institutes. They'll be found in bigger cities. So if students are looking, they want to get that kind of big university experience. Maybe they don't want to be in a bigger city or spend as much. We're probably going to be the cheapest option of the top fashion schools. They could go to Kent State, get a great education in fashion with a lot of different opportunities for internships. So again, fashion makes their students do a study away, whether it's in Florence, Paris, a lot of students do Paris. And we also have a New York City Center for Fashion, where students are right in the fashion district of New York City. They'll be able to do internships and stuff there. So although, you know, they're coming to Kent, they'll be in a college town, they have all these opportunities to get away to bigger cities, Europe, and have that portion of maybe something they were looking for in their fashion program. And there's a lot of different scholarships, and the fashion school also has their own museum and their own store downtown Kent. There's fashion shows throughout the year, and some of the benefits of if you win that is you might get one of your designs in the fashion store and such. And then there's another slide up next that also talks a little bit about fashion and the art. So here's just the rankings. We're really proud of our fashion program, as you can see. So in Fashionista, we've been ranked top 15 in the world, top 5 in the US, and then fashionschools.org. Both programs have been top 5 in the US. And one other note about fashion, they recently added a master's in the fashion industry studies. So that I think was new this past year is when they added it. So now students, in addition to getting their bachelor's, can also get a master's in fashion, which again, you're not going to find that at a lot of schools around the country. All right, moving on from fashion, just sticking in the College of the Arts though, we do of course have music, we have dance, theater. Musical theater is a really big program at Kent State. It's been listed also very highly on different lists for musical theater programs. They get a lot of different opportunities within the school, and then we're actually really close to Cleveland has kind of this big outdoor theater, and it's actually located very close to Kent. And there's a kind of summer program where students in musical theater can take part in one of the little outdoor theaters that's nearby. So it's always really highly rated on some of the lists that you'll see. And again, there's a lot of different opportunities for scholarships within the department, as well as study abroad opportunities. And then the next, moving on to the next one. And yep, this just gives you a little more information again about our arts programs, School of Music, dance. So for some of these, for at the undergraduate level, they do of course require an audition piece, especially for dance and all the music programs and musical theater. So that is something that they're able to work with faculty in the department with. Obviously, they're not in the US, they can't come to Kent to do the audition, so they are really flexible in helping them submit, say, a video or other electronic packages in order to take care of that audition piece. Yep.
All right, so moving on, now we have the College of Arts and Sciences. So something that we like to talk about at Kent State is that we are the birthplace of the liquid crystal technology. So this is a pretty huge graduate program, very high in research. I know that a lot of students, international students, like to participate in the research there. So when we talk about liquid crystal technology, I'm talking about the LCD screen. So that's where initially all of it began at Kent State University. So if you have a smartphone, just know that that technology came out of Kent State University and our research. We also have some pretty popular programs within our Department of Modern and Classical Languages. And that would be where we have the Applied Linguistics, which is one of the best translation programs in the nation. And there's areas of focus in translation in Arabic, French, German, Japanese, Russian, and Spanish. So we have a lot of different areas where students can focus on that. And then just some other popular programs that we have. Our students, especially our international students, since we're talking about them, applied mathematics, biomed is popular with graduate students. We have a great computer science program at all levels. And then we have physics, political science, and again, the translation. So those are programs that are popular not just with undergraduate students, but with our graduate researchers as well. And then next slide, please. And now I'm going to be talking about one of the biggest colleges at Kent State, which is our College of Business Administration. And so this was known as one of the best undergraduate business programs. And we were ranked as one of the best national ones and one of the most outstanding business schools by the Princeton Review. We have over 85 full-time faculty, which is a lot for one college. We have 3,827 students. So again, this is one of the largest colleges on Kent's campus. We have more than 35,000 alumni worldwide, and 1,711 of them are presidents or CEOs of companies. So that just goes to show you that our business school is really putting our students up for success in their areas of study. And then we have pretty much a lot of different programs. So we have bachelor's, master's, PhD. We have even an executive MBA. So there's a lot of different programs to choose from. We'll briefly touch on that in a moment as well. And then during the 2017 and 18 academic year, so we don't have an updated stat yet, but we had 245 students study abroad. So you'll probably start to see this pattern where Kent State has a lot of students studying abroad, and that's because we really encourage our students to get an experience beyond the classroom, but also beyond the US, and kind of expand their world knowledge. So you'll see that, we'll keep talking about that, but we have a lot of students in every college opt in to study abroad each year. Next slide, please. So our College of Business is ranked as one of the best programs offered in the US by the Princeton Review, and it is AACSB accredited, and there is less than, I believe, 1% of schools in the world that have that accreditation, which is super important. And we have, again, a dedicated career advising office for our business majors. And I think that's super important because, again, just seeing how many successful students we have come out of there, it goes to show you that we have that one-on-one relationship with our students, and that, again, they're doing a lot of study abroad. We're really staying engaged with them. And some of the popular programs that we offer in business, I want to go over those, would be like accounting, of course. We have business management. We have an MBA program. We have business analytics, which is a huge growing field right now. Business analysts are super needed around the world. So we have one of those programs. And then we have great master's programs in economics. Next slide, please. Thank you. And then now I'm going to touch on our College of Communication and Information. And this is an interesting one because it has a lot of unique programs in it. So one of the programs that we have are, or one of the schools we have is the Visual Communication Design School. And that has a lot of unique programs in it, but it's nationally recognized with accreditation for an emphasis in visual design, illustration, and photo illustration. So those are pretty important for students who are into the design area. And then we have a library and information science program, and that one is top 20 in the nation. And we do have quite a few international students who participate in that program as well. Next slide. Thank you. All right, so we have also within the College of Communication and Information a couple of other majors. We have journalism and mass communication, so that's pretty popular. And then we have communication studies. And then we have a really unique program called Digital Sciences. And this program right now is going through a couple of changes at Kent State. So we're actually changing the curriculum a little bit, but a lot of people ask us, like, what is digital sciences? And it is a multidisciplinary field where students are combining like technology, information systems, and communication all together, and that's how they become data sciences and or data scientists, as well as professors and all of that. And it's a very multidisciplinary field. So if you have more than one interest, like you don't want to just be in software, or you don't want to just be in communication, it's a great way to combine all of your interests. And students who graduate from that field will have a specific focus on one area, but they will have knowledge in all the other areas. So it's a great program with a lot of diverse experiences in it. And next, I'm going to touch on our College of Education, Health, and Human Services. And this one has over 60,000 students alumni worldwide who were students. We have 14 research centers, and then we have 55 undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral programs. And some of the popular ones are health education and promotion, nutrition and dietetics. We have hospitality management, and that one is big with international students. And then we have early childhood education. And we were ranked number 72 for best online graduate programs in education. Next, please. Thank you. And so now I'm just going to touch briefly on these because I know we're getting a little short on time. So we have the athletic training program. So a lot of students go into sports administration and recreation management. Again, we have a great hospitality management program. I believe at the master's level that's being also redesigned, but we have it at all levels. And then we have early childhood education, higher education administration if you want to work at a university, and then we have great counseling programs as well. So we have a little bit of everything, but some of the largest schools or largest counseling centers have had students from Kent State. And then I believe this is the last, or not the last, but almost. We have the College of Nursing, which is one of the largest and most comprehensive nursing programs in the United States. And then we are known as, or we are designated as a National League for Nursing Center of Excellence in Nursing Education. And I just want to mention that for international students, we have the Bachelor of Nursing programs that they can do. It's a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and then we also have the PhD program in nursing for international students. And fun fact is that 40% of the nursing workforce in Northeast Ohio actually comes from Kent State University. So like Eric had mentioned previously, we have a really popular system called University Hospitals and also the Cleveland Clinic, and they hire a lot of nurses each year. So 40% of that workforce actually graduates from Kent State University. So that's pretty exciting. And now we have, last but not least, public health. And again, this one is pretty popular with international students. We are one of the only 55 Council on Education for Public Health accredited schools in the US, and we are one of 2 in the state of Ohio. And the reason why this program is super important is, as you know, there is a shortage of public health workers in the world, and Kent State University provides all students, not just international, but we provide all students with an international experience and an opportunity to engage and interact with large-scale organizations like the World Health Organization and the United Nations. And as you know, especially more than ever now, this field is becoming extremely important. So I expect that, you know, Kent State is going to be participating in more and more research. I know a lot of our public health researchers are currently getting a lot of recognition for their efforts with researching and helping with COVID-related research and stuff like that. And we're going to briefly touch on that later in this presentation, but just know that Kent State's been nationally recognized for what we've been doing, and we have some of the top faculty members currently interacting and researching with the current pandemic happening. So
Okay, and it does look like we're getting near, like very close to the end before questions. So I just want to make sure we get to certain points. So I'm going to just kind of breeze through these last ones. I may skip some slides. So if you have questions, let us know in the question box. So just to go through the applications quickly, as I said, we do have ESL only. We have the undergraduate. So if you're a freshman or transfer, if a student has taken any university coursework, they cannot apply as new freshmen. They would have to apply as a transfer student. And then at graduate level, we have master's as well as the doctoral level as well. Some of the programs allow you to jump right from a bachelor's to a doctoral program, such as say psychology. You would actually get your master's on the way. So that'd be your first 2 years and then on the way to a doctorate with 3 or 4 more years after the master's. And there's a small handful of those that do that. We can go to the next slide. And this is just going to give you general requirements. So for ESL, basically, you just need to have graduated high school to be eligible. For undergraduate, for freshmen, it's a 2.5 on that 4.0 US scale. For transfer students, that would be a 2.0, so solid C's would get you in as a transfer student. And then our English requirement for undergrads is TOEFL 71, IELTS 6.0, and we just added Duolingo because of the pandemic, but now we've made it official policy, so it's been added in. And if you have 100 or above on the Duolingo English test, you would meet the requirement. We do have conditional admission, so if you don't have a test score or you don't meet those, you can start in ESL. Graduate, the main theme of graduate is that it depends on the department and program. It will vary whether the guidelines, if you need GRE, GMAT, etc., as well as English. And if they conditional, those will all kind of vary. So if you ever have questions on those, you can we can be contacted and let you know what those are. Okay, we can go to the next one. I might skip around here. The main thing with this is that at undergraduate, we make the decision in our office. Graduate, we do the credential evaluations ourselves, and then we make sure everything is there and we send it on to the department. The department makes the decision. So in the undergraduate, we make the decision, and then at the graduate level, it's through the colleges and the departments. We can go to the next slide. This is the scholarships. We've awarded over $1 million this year. We have a lot of different ones that are available for undergrads. These are generally more leaning towards freshmen. So right now we have the global scholarship. If you're admitted into an undergraduate program, you would get $4,500 per year. We also have the International Freshman Scholarship for students that have higher level GPAs. We don't require the SAT or ACT, but for the International Freshman Scholarship, they would need to have either a 1260 on the SAT or a 27 on the ACT to be eligible. There's also some programs like architecture, fashion that do require the SAT or ACT, but generally we don't require them for international students. And if they don't have them for those specific programs, they're put in a pre-major. And Jamila, I'm just going to take us home on these. You can go to the next slide just to get through them. And then we can get to questions. Graduate assistantships, again, these will vary depending on the department if they're available. Some programs, you know, many students will get them. Some have no graduate assistantships. So again, they'll want to look at the specific program's websites to check on these. We also have campus work available. International students can work up to 20 hours a week. They would apply just like a domestic student would through the, it's called Handshake. It's where the jobs would be posted, and they may have to put the resume, have an interview and such. Okay, next slides. And just to let you know, we do our own GPA calculation, credential evaluation. We do not accept the WES, and we wouldn't even really ask for those unless we think there's some kind of discrepancy within the transcripts. But we do our own GPA calculation. We do not accept those outside WES credential evaluations. Next one. And then deferrals, obviously this is really big right now with not knowing if they'll be able to come for fall, or maybe they just can't get a visa in time, or any type of issue that comes up. We can be easily contacted to defer into the future. Our applications are valid for 1 year, and we'd be happy to help them defer to a future semester. Okay. This, again, I talked a little bit about ESL, so we can go on to the next one, and I think almost at the end. And this is just, scanned copies can be submitted to us. We would want to see the final and official transcripts once they're on campus. Otherwise, there's a hold that gets put on before they can register for the next semester. And the last couple slides. All right. Yeah, we can probably just skip. There is a how, like, you're a freshman.
This is just housing and arrival information.
Yeah.
So
we
like,
can skip that, I think.
Right.
Yeah. All right, and this is the last one I think we want to touch on. Jamila, do you want to take this one and then we'll finish it?
Yeah, I can. We want to let people know that during this pandemic that we have opened some flexibility for our admission requirements. So for English, not only do we accept TOEFL and IELTS, but for all levels of study, we are accepting the Duolingo English test. You can find all those requirements on our website. Also, some of the departments for the graduate studies are waiving the GRE and the GMAT. Again, there's a comprehensive list of that on our website. And then also International Admissions is hosting a weekly flash talk, as we call it, which is just where we go over topics of interest. We're going to continue this now into the fall semester. We just like to interact with our students over social media and give them a chance to learn more about us through a series of topics. So that's about it.
Awesome. Jamila, Eric, thank you so much for your time. I know the last few minutes there was just breeze through, but as this recording will be sent out to all of our participants, they'll have the opportunity, of course, to review some of the slides that we had to skip over. So just a few, I guess I'll kind of do a rapid fire to some extent as well, as detailed as an answer as you can give. You just touched on COVID, Jamila, a little bit with the fall semester. Just any updates in terms of any applications that might be currently in the pipeline, how those might get affected, and also prospective students who have offers as well.
Yeah, so Kent State has not yet made an official, as an institution, we haven't determined yet our final mode of instruction. So if a student is in the pipeline, submitted an application, still waiting on a decision, just know that we're processing those. We are still giving out like I-20s and we're working the normal admissions process. Nothing is halted. As for students who have offers, again, we tell them everything to go keep going as normal. What happens is the university, once they make a decision, which is supposed to be sometime in mid-June, we would release that information to ApplyBoard and to any constituents and let them know what the next steps are. Eric touched on the deferrals, if that would be what we would require, or maybe we'll have an option for some online study, but we will communicate that information to you guys with the next steps. But just know right now, nothing has been determined.
Absolutely, thank you. And exactly from ApplyBoard's perspective, as soon as we know, we'll let all of our partners know as well. When it comes to application processing, how does Kent State evaluate any study gaps that a student might have in their in-between learnings?
Eric,
yeah, sure. Are you? Is this referring to maybe they, after high school, they take a year or two off?
Yeah, in any circumstance, if there is a acknowledged gap, whether it's 1 year to 3 years or however long, what would be the requirement from a student applications perspective and required from Kent State?
So especially at the undergraduate level, if we notice they maybe graduated a little earlier and then from high school, and then we notice, okay, they're applying like 4 years later, we might ask ApplyBoard, we might say, we noticed a student graduated a while ago. Did they take any university coursework? And the reason we do that is sometimes students don't know that they can't just start as a new freshman. And then they come here with a university transcript and we'll be like, well, we can't give you credit because you applied incorrectly, basically. So we usually we'll ask, we'll trust the answer that we're given. We don't generally ask for like a big statement sheet or anything. If they have that and if they're thinking we might ask about it, they're welcome to provide a little statement. I started working, whatever it is. But we would usually just double check with you and ask you.
Okay,
for sure. Thank you. Yep.
This question can be twofold. So one, with graduate programs, are GRE and GMAT scores required? And the second half of that question is, in the current COVID situation, have there been any sort of waivers and exemptions in the application processing over the last few months?
Right, so I briefly touched on that earlier, but just so everyone knows, GRE and GMAT depend on the department to begin with. So some departments have offered waivers and flexibility during this time. There's like around 10 or 12 that are listed on our website. Some of the more competitive programs that make decisions earlier in the year are not waiving the GRE or GMAT at this time. And I also want to mention that some of our programs have recognized that GRE and GMAT are offering online home options now. So just knowing that things might not go back to normal anytime soon, we are going to start to look into how we can make those home offering tests more permanent as part of our requirements. So right now we have some programs being flexible, but just note that that flexibility may change as we start to explore those options that the testing examination centers are going to offer to us.
Great, and I'll throw the last question with regards to work opportunities, and just to basically almost take a step back and kind of explain at a broader level the on-campus working, off-campus working, and then kind of what OPT looks like, all in a nice summary if possible.
I can do the OPT. Eric, do you want to talk about on-campus work real quick?
Yeah, I'll do the on-campus work. I actually we have student workers from different countries, from Oman, Vietnam, and the US, and we work with them. So there's the process, as I said, goes with the domestic students. It's through this portal called Handshake. That's where the jobs are listed. They put their resumes, their transcripts, whatever's asked for that certain position. So we have a lot of international students working in dining services, the library, our office, residential services. So a lot of different opportunities for them. As I said, they're only able to do up to 20 hours during an academic semester. If it is a break, they can go up to 28 hours, such as maybe summer or spring break when they're not taking courses. And that's at every university. That's going to be part of the immigration regulations. The off-campus, they're not allowed to just work off-campus. That would be against their visa, unless it is for, internships, CPT, where they're actually that's part of their program. And Jamila, you know more about OPT, so I'll let you handle that one.
Same with OPT. So after a student graduates at each level, they're eligible for 12 months of optional practical training, or OPT. And then we also have some STEM designated majors, which would be science programs, some of the business programs like business analytics, anything that's basically a science related program or in the STEM area, that would qualify you for an additional 24 months of OPT. So that would be a total of 36. And again, with all of our career offices on campus helping students finding jobs, we do have quite a few students that we don't count in our numbers, but that are still, after they graduate, currently in the US, somewhere around the US, doing their OPT and working with companies in the workforce. So OPT is something that our International Student and Scholar Services office will handle. We have an entire staff that actually assists students through the whole process and gives them all of the immigration regulations.
Fantastic. And with that being said, I know we're coming up in the last minute here, so I know Mehdi will usually have a last few pointers for our audience and just to kind of wrap this up. But Jamila, Eric, thank you so much from my perspective. It was a great presentation and great to connect with you both.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jamila and Eric. It was very useful and a lot of information I learned. So thank you so much for taking us through that presentation. And then I will look forward to seeing you guys next week for our next 3 top recruiter workshop, which is University of West England, Middlesex, and Nottingham Trent University. That is a funny name to say. Thank you so much once again for everyone for being. Stay safe and healthy and enjoy the rest of day or evening. Bye.
Bye, everyone.